You're ready.
Okay, I'm Jeff Holmes. Here we are in the marsh, which kind of involves the Holland Marsh, Bradford Marsh, Down Marsh, Keswick Marsh. I call it considered one of the bread baskets of Ontario. Wealth of different crops that are grown here, and I think Greg was just here. Greg Hodgins, one of our key agronomists that looks after the Holland Marsh, and just want to talk about some of the priorities happening right now as we kind of finish up our seasons with crop production. Hey, Greg, some of the things we're starting to focus on. So, Greg, what are some of those things right now that we're kind of focusing on?
Well, obviously we're standing in an onion crop here today. That's probably maybe a week, 10 days away from being dug, and then the harvest will shortly after that. So short term, I still think there's opportunities for cover crops. We're still getting a lot of phone calls and questions about cover crops and guys wondering what to do. Had more inquiries about things like sorghum even this year than what we've traditionally had, but whether it's just a crop of oats or we've got some radish, clovers, different ideas. I think the key with cover crops is to keep the mix simple and cost effective, and really decide, what are you after? What's the goal of your cover crop to decide on what you want to do. So there's some guys that are looking for nematode suppression, right? If that's the case, you want to get into something like a mustard. If it's hard pan that you're trying to break up, then you want to get into a radish. If it's just scavenging nitrogen, getting ground cover, suppressing weeds, then maybe oats, or that's where the sorghum thing has been a little more popular this year. So really it's figuring out what you're trying to accomplish, and then we can kind of make a program fit for you.
I think ultimately you really want to keep the ground cover. You want something green on these fields all the time. Helps with soil erosion, with wind erosion, soil water movement with the rains we're getting right. You really want to keep this ground contained.
Wind erosion too is getting to be big, right? It's not only in the fall but in the spring.
Yeah.
Even had some growers this year that didn't they weren't needing their land until well into June or even close to the 1st of July. We need to be putting cover crop in the spring in those situations to hold the ground.
Some of our specialty is really talking about the soils, right? So what are some of the things we're out here trying to do here right away once the crop's up?
Well, obviously, once we put a cover crop in, whether it's before or after, it goes back to, what's your soil sampling strategy, right? We've done a little bulk sampling over the years, which is kind of the old faithful, right? You take whether it's a 5 or a 10 or a 20 acre field, you take a sample, different cores from different areas, you mix it all together, and you get the numbers back to look at. That's always served us well, I think, in this day and age with the technology that we have, through whether it's imagery or yield maps, things like that, or even going to grid sampling. I think we need to get better on how we're looking at the variability within some of these soils, and then from there we can try and address it based on the results we get. Soil sampling has always been and will continue to be very key in how we keep these farms producing to their potential.
Greg, in this situation we're sitting on like a 65 acre field. We're trying to really focus hard on the 4R system, right, and better precision with our nutrient management plans. And that goal is working down to less than 20 acres. Finding these farms with the precise work we need to do. A lot of times these hot spots might be only 3 or 4 or 5 acres big. So we really need to find with those different issues. So what are some of the things you're focusing on those soil samples, Greg? You want to look at this fall that are pretty critical.
Well, obviously, once we get samples back, in terms of fall applications, obviously you're moving to soil amendments, right? So we need to be checking things like pHs, we need to be checking calcium levels, mag, potash to a certain extent, but that's more dealt with in the spring. Salt levels, like either your soluble salts or your percent sodium, those are critical as well, right? Because those are the things that we really need to address in the fall to get the maximum production for next spring in these crops. Those are a few things. Yeah, pH is obviously a pretty simple one. If you have low pHs, you need to be liming, right? But sometimes it's just not as simple as looking at the pH values. You really got to look at your base saturations, particularly calcium as well. Right? Sometimes you can get fooled by an adequate pH, but you're still chasing lower calcium readings, and that's where things like gypsum fit in. Or if you have high salt readings, that's where you want to use gypsum ahead of lime, right? So there's a few numbers there you need to look at. It's not just quite as simple as looking at a single value for pH to determine whether you want to put lime or anything on.
So Greg, there's a few different types of limes, though, Greg. So what are you looking at in the samples to determine what kind of lime products you want to use? What really stands out in those samples? Because we can make it better or make it worse sometimes putting the wrong products on.
Yep.
So we want to make it right. So we need to focus on specific things in those samples. What we might look at.
Yep. Well, there's two main sources of lime, right? A calcitic, which is the most popular. The other one is dolomitic, which is a magnesium component, right? So again, it really comes back to not only looking at the pHs, but looking at where your base saturation levels of your soil tests are for your magnesium and your calcium. If you're chasing low mag, then maybe dolomitic lime is a good opportunity to mag up, we really need to get those magnesium percentages in that, 10 to 12, even 15%, right? So if you're stuck down less than 10 and you need the lime, then maybe there's an opportunity to build some mag, because it's probably more economical to deal with that and then save your K-mag fertilizer applications for spring, but do some building with some dole bedding. So again, it goes back to looking at some of your numbers, right, and not just strictly a pH number. That only gives you part of the puzzle.
Right, often see there's often a bit of ratios going on there, right, between calcium, magnesium, potassium as your base saturations are so key, right? You can make everything else work well, but if you get those working really well, it really makes a crop like we're looking at here really do well.
Yep.
So
it's really all about soil balance, right? It's not necessarily just being high on everything; it's about having a well-balanced soil. So you got to look at all your cations. Unfortunately, your sodiums, your salts are part of that as well, right? So we need to keep an eye on them to make sure we buffer them to the lower side of where they need to be.
Yeah, we really want to kick ass on this crop, right? So we got to get it set up early and set up late in the fall and get it ready for the next year. So it's so key to get out and get your soil samples done as early as we can. Make sure we get them back in the fall. Make sure we review them. Get those actions and plans. Start to make those plans. The better we plan, the better productive we are.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Greg.